604, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. It is on as of today, y'all. 57 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, starting you off on this, the opening day of the 2025 legislative session. Yes, I get fired up for opening day. You want to fight? Like, it's awesome. It's fun. It's like the first day of school. It's like the opening day of Major League Baseball. Yeah, nothing gets done. But there's a level of excitement. There's a level of spirit. There's a level of renewal and rebirth. There's a bit of romance in the air as the system that we've created oh so long ago could actually work this time. We get 3 solid hours of it. Actually, this first hour, we're going pretty heavy on everything else that's not the legislative session. Hours 2 and 3, we'll ramp up towards it. Moon Griffons can be coming your way from the state capitol. And then from 11 to 1-ish, me and Moon are going to tag team it all the way up until the governor addresses the state to kick things off. So I'm fired up. Like I said, potential is the word of the day. Let's start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Starts us off in Prairieville, actually. A man is behind bars after he stabbed his mother in a Prairieville neighborhood Saturday afternoon, according to the Central Parish Sheriff's Office. 23-year-old Dylan Marshall stabbed 48-year-old Shanitra Marshall to death on Misty Oak Court. Neighbors told our news partners at WBRZ the family was well-liked and friendly. They said Dylan was a great kid and would always see in the neighborhood, but he was known to have struggled with mental health issues in the past.
Number 4.
A former state senator's home health care company is being sued after the alleged negligent care of an Ascension Parish woman who later died. The Advocate reported this on Friday. Troy Brown, who served as a Democrat in Napoleonville, owns and operates the company Home Care PCA LLC. According to the Advocate, the children of the now deceased woman sued Brown's company and Tyree Sam, one of its employees. The suit alleges that Sam, quote, failed to treat resident Catherine Simmons properly and seek necessary medical intervention before her death last year.
Number 3.
Baton Rouge Fire Department finished first place at the Firefighter Beach Challenge in Pensacola. The competition featured multiple challenges that firefighters face in real life, but simulations on the beach.
Number 2.
A former Louisiana Department of Health secretary was reappointed to the position by Governor Jeff Landry on Friday. Bruce Greenstein previously served as health secretary under Governor Bobby Jindal from 2010 to 2013. He reclaims that post.
Number 1.
Former LSU football player Kyron Lacey was found dead in his car in Houston after a police chase Saturday night, having apparently shot himself during the chase. We're actually going to talk about this at greater length a little bit later this hour. All right, John.
All right.
I'm about 85% today. You can tell. I'm still not there. I'm still not there, man.
Better than you were.
Yes. Thousands.
That's what we're talking
about.
Well,
at 6:35, we're going to hear from the former president, CEO of Anheuser-Busch.
All right.
I actually recorded that on Friday.
Okay.
So it'll be fun to get a little bit of how much better did I get kind of comparison.
Hey, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
In other news, trending topics here, President Donald Trump says he'll share more details today on his plan for separate tariffs on semiconductor chips.
Yeah.
Which are basically in their own bracket, right? They're basically in their own.
Yeah, but it's going to be semiconductor chips. I believe they're taking a closer look at prescription drugs. Yeah. There's a couple of other ones there, but it's the semiconductor chips that I think are kind of the biggest deal to the whole economy.
Yeah,
because that's where we build things. But It's also like, I think it's where we have the opportunity to move the market here. I do.
Be really great.
Pharmaceuticals, I don't think we can move the market here as much because we've got a lot here already. Yeah. So that which is not already here, why is it not here? Why haven't they built that out to do it before?
Right.
So,
absolutely. In other news, Gail King and an all-female crew are launching into space today. No big deal, right?
You saw this?
Just another day in the...
Did you see who else on the crew here?
Yes. Among those, Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Who was the other one? Lauren Sanchez, which is Jeff Bezos' fiance, I believe. Because it's his.
Is this the one that stole Bryce Underwood?
I'm gonna have to look further into that.
Or no. That's Oracle's guy, not Bezos. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, among this crew, those are the ones. The New Shepard program.
The New Shepard program. 11 minutes in space, as I understand.
Yeah, launching out of Texas.
All female
today.
crew. Left-hand blinker going to be on the whole time. I'm sorry. No. We're not.
Too early for this. Too early for this. Yeah, but that's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh man, the end of daylight savings time may be getting closer. It was the topic of conversation last week in the Senate's Commerce Committee, and its elimination has bipartisan support.
Yes, it does.
Yes, indeed.
Anytime you can get a Democrat to agree with Ted Cruz, you've either got a great idea or the apocalypse. It's one of the two. One of the two is going to happen.
Bit of both here.
I would like to just be done with daylight saving time completely. Have been for a long time now. We do not run our economy based off of. I mean, we still have a very heavy agriculture economy.
Yep.
But we also have indoor plumbing. We have lights. We have air conditioning. We have many, many things that we did not have before. So I'm all about getting rid of this bad boy and just sticking with one clock the whole way around the. Now watch.
Let's do it.
Where do you think the next argument's going to come? That's my big thing. It's because someone's going to have to dig in their heels and make an argument. And the argument to me is going to come over whether we lose the hour or gain the hour. When do you cut off daylight saving time? When we roll back the clock or when we spring forward?
I'd lose an hour to have extra.
I'm down to lose an hour just to be done with the whole thing.
Right.
But you realize we're all going to die an hour sooner now.
Oh, fantastic.
If we wait until the fall, when we roll back the clock,
True.
We're all going to live an hour longer.
Okay. So,
by the way, thank you for keeping a straight face through that, because there's no way that makes sense. Is
this something that's really discussed?
Yes. When do you want? No, what's discussed is when do you want the sun to come up?
Yeah.
I mean,
come on.
I'm gonna make the argument of why are you taking an hour away from my life?
Why?
Right. If I wanted to lose an hour of my life, I would rewatch the end of Seinfeld. 612, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to take a quick break, come back, talk a little sports. Hey, before we take that break, though, all right, it's on at the state capitol today. But just 3 blocks from the state capitol, it's on every day at Mathern's. Nestled in between 3rd and 4th Street, and they have an entrance on both sides. In fact, the parking lot's on the 4th Street side. Corner of 3rd and Main, or 4th and Main, for the parking lot. Mathern's very, very quickly became a downtown staple. Very, very quickly, as the only full-service grocery store in downtown, became a part of that heartbeat that is downtown today. And it's not just a full-service grocery store. They've got the fantastic lunch counter and the unbelievable salad bar. So if you work at the Capitol, and it's go time now, Mathern's has got you covered all session long. And if you download the Mathern's Rewards app, you can be earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. Let me take it a step further. If you work at the Capitol and live in Kenilworth, Mathern's has got you covered with the app downtown and on Highland, just west of Kenilworth Boulevard. Let me take it a step further. If you work at the Capitol and live over near campus and your afternoon drive or your afternoon commute takes you up Nicholson, they got you covered on both ends there. Same app, all 3 stores. Download it now. It's Mathern's. Oh. That Wanda Sykes?
Man, I guess you kind of, yeah.
I didn't pull any baseball highlights because it was to do all weekend long.
Okay.
Same with softball.
Softball, yeah. Rory, right here. That's not a cut, is it?
No,
Okay. Just check.
but it could be. Yep, it's cut.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Hang on. It's not yet. You don't have it yet.
Oh, you're good. I just want to make sure because sometimes I don't know what. Sometimes there's a delay in the. Just want to make sure.
All right, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
I will do my best to get to it with enough time, but I'm just going to toss it to you by saying, let's take it out to the Masters.
All right.
Six 16 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. What an awful weekend. I mean, absolutely awful weekend for LSU baseball and softball. Both teams on the road, both teams swept. Let's go ahead and start with, where am I at here? Oh, I'm on baseball again. Hang on. Let's go ahead and start with baseball, and then we'll move over to softball. LSU on the road. Things were rough on Friday night as Cade Anderson really ran into some trouble around the fifth inning. Not necessarily unexpected. His last start, he threw 135 pitches. It was kind of expected that he would run into some trouble at some point, right? And it was just a rough go of it, and the bats couldn't have his back. Friday night, LSU loses that game 8-4. Cade Anderson comes out on Saturday, throws an absolutely magnificent first few innings, but there are no bats in that game, and LSU loses 4-2. Then yesterday, LSU posts up a 3-2 loss as Auburn grabs the sweep. Problem here, if you are the Tigers, is you're back to a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this weekend, so there's not a whole lot of time to knock the dust off. But that might actually be a good thing because you're hosting McNeese on Tuesday night, which basically ought to be batting practice. McNeese, get ready. You're a get-right game, which, if things go to plan, should be 7 innings worth of a whooping. LSU baseball falls to 31-6 overall with the sweep underneath them. Move over to LSU softball, and it was every bit as bad. Beth Torina's Tigers, who I am so high on this year. Beth Torina's Tigers were on the road at Texas A&M. They lose Friday 12-7. They lose Saturday 9-7, and they lose Sunday 4-1. The problem you have if you're Beth Torina's Tigers is you don't get that get-right game that baseball has. They'll play next on Thursday at Texas, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Of course, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series for both is to set up for having Easter Sunday off. Let's take you to the Masters.
Look at the long shadows. Symbolic at this moment of the journey it's taken to get here. For all this history.
The long journey is over. McElroy has his masterpiece.
Rory McIlroy is your Masters champion. Oh, what a ride to get there, though. I mean, lost the lead, twice on the final round before finally getting it done in the playoffs. So he now has the career Grand Slam, which that is rare air right there. That is a very small club to be a part of. But he got it done, and it was amazing. It was beautiful to watch, and good on him. And I'm hoping he's here in a couple weeks for the Zurich. Here's the Fox Business Report. I don't have a spot to talk about my weekend anywhere. And I drove down to Belchase twice over the weekend.
Twice.
The end of General de Gaulle. Like where General de Gaulle ends.
Dang.
Yeah. Comes to down over the Intracoastal Waterway and does this little loop-de-loop before letting out on, I forget what road that was. Yeah, we were at the Plaquemines Parish Multi-Sports Complex, which is basically 4 basketball courts in one gym. Which I would imagine if you raised all the basketball courts up, you get yourself a great place for, I don't know, any big indoor venue.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
Tile floor, hated tile floor. Because you got tile on top of concrete. They played with the more of a rubber ball, hate a rubber ball. You get too much bounce.
Yeah.
Tile floor plus an overinflated rubber ball. It's hard to have handles. It's hard to control the basketball. A lot of bounce there. It changes everything. And I hate how, I'm not coaching, so I have to stand down, right? But, the coach isn't going to mention these things, and I don't know why. It's little intricacies like this that I didn't realize when I was playing. I didn't realize until after I was done. But every court has a different spring to it. Every court has a different bounce to it. Your jump is going to be off by a quarter inch, half inch every time. Now think about that. That doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it affects your touch. It affects your shot.
Oh yeah.
If my release point is half inch higher in one gym than it is another, I'm hitting the back iron as opposed to the middle of the net. So those are the kinds of little things that I take into account. And I told Abby about it on Saturday in between games. I'm like, you realize there's more bounce here, right? It's this tile floor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not going down there for nothing.
Just checking.
Abby was playing. No, I just really like watching 8th grade girls.
Oof. Oof. Made an attempt to go to the Strawberry Festival this weekend.
How was that?
They had a shooting over there that day.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
It was packed. We spent more time looking for a spot to park than we actually spent on the grounds. It was just, you could barely move. And we had 5 kids between me, us, my brother, and his kids, and it was just like,
yeah,
it was just terrible.
That's a shame too, because the Strawberry. You know what?
And
where are we gonna do
order
this?
To the traffic of it, it was just everyone just moving. You know what I mean? Bumping into each other, just like, and we're all holding hands, just trying to stay together.
All right, I'm gonna move Kyron Lacey. No, you know what? We'll do these at $650 on the back end of the insurance bills.
Okay.
We'll tell both stories.
Oh,
because I got more to mine. Mine's about everything great about Louisiana. Because in between games, we went to a crawfish cook-off.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah. All right, let's head on back to the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center, see what we got going on this morning. Actually, relatively light on the interstates to start off your morning. You will find volume on 12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, but it's not, it's actually slightly lighter than normal. It's just patchier. Around Range Avenue is where you'll find it, and then again around O'Neill, and then again once you get towards the 10-12 merge, but it's not anything that's going to make you really smash the brakes a whole lot. I-10 westbound coming in from Century Parish looks great. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge looks great as well. As do both bridges, as does I-110. We got a relatively good start to the morning so far on your interstate systems. Surface streets, however, A little bit different of a scenario here. Let's rewind the clock back about 25 minutes. We got an accident in the roadway on Piku at Airline. Piku at Airline, that's being worked. Well, no, I'm sorry. That was off the roadway. Piku at Airline. Then Sheriff's Office is working 2 different scenes right now. One's Piku at Woodridge, and the other is Highland at Segan Lane. Both crashes reported within the last 20 minutes, so those should still be active. That should look at traffic from the Shop Hills Tire Traffic Center. I'm glad it's got a home. $6:25. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right. Sports always rolls over on a Monday to a second segment. That's the case today as well. Practice in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. And it's always hard to gauge what's good and what's bad when you're playing against yourself. I'm a huge proponent of spring game moving to some kind of scrimmage against somebody else. For a number of reasons. Number one, for all the guys on the team, it's a nice little reward about, after beating each other up for a couple weeks. They don't do that a whole lot anymore. But after going against yourself for that long, go against somebody else. You'll get a better gauge of what's working and what's not working. Like, for example, LSU's defense, the defensive ends look great. Jamari Butler, Gabriel Relaford, Jack Pyburn, all making plays. Butler and Pyburn, with their transfers coming in. In fact, Coach Kelly says they've been great additions thus far.
Those guys are great workers. They do it the right way off the field, in this building. They are leaders, even in the sense of how they handle themselves amongst our football team, even though they've only been here since January.
Hard part is, though, are they really good or is the offense bad? And conversely, if the offense is doing great, is it the offense is good or the defense is bad? You just can't know when you're playing against yourself. A highlight on the offensive side of the football was freshman running back Harlem Berry. He comes in as a 5-star prospect. Coach Kelly mentions just how electric he is.
He's a natural runner of the football, and he's really good. And I think he lives up to the billing of the best running back in the country because of his just natural instincts that he has as a running back.
We're going to pause on LSU for just a minute, come back to it in a little bit. But we do want to move over to the Saints because there was breaking news heading into the weekend. This came down on Friday. It looks like Derek Carr's 2025 season might not even happen. Ian Rappaport with the NFL Network reports that Carr has a shoulder injury, could miss the entire season. Now, Ross Jackson with LouisianaSports.net and the Locked On Saints podcast says Carr's injury. This actually might be a good thing because if you're the Saints, you can finally cut bait and start rebuilding.
They can choose to sit here and wallow around the idea that they don't have Derek Carr, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think you get the opportunity here to turn the page, start anew, and figure out where you might look to turn your franchise over in the next few years.
Off-season workouts start today, which means that Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener are going to get a much bigger look through the off-season workouts. They probably were going to get a much bigger look anyway, because you don't run Carr out there a whole lot during these workouts. But Rattler did have 6 starts during his rookie season.
They've also acknowledged that though he was winless as a starter last season, that he wasn't put in the easiest situation, thereby sort of, adjacently then acknowledging too that if they can put him in a better situation, that they can maybe find greater success with him.
Which is true. I mean, every game that Spencer Rattler started, he did not have the starting 5 in front of him on the offensive line. That's legitimate. That's not an excuse. That's a reason. And when you look back at the Saints season last year and say, well, they started off 2-0 and everything was great after that 2-0. They didn't have their starting team for any game after that. True, but that's an excuse, not a reason. I don't know why one is true and the other's not, but I don't know. That's just the takeaway there. It's tougher to throw one of the backups in and hold them accountable. All right, back to LSU. Sad news over the weekend. Starting off early Sunday morning with rumors. My buddy Scott and I we're at an AAU basketball game down in Belle Chase, and my buddy Scott's like, "Hey, are these rumors about Kyron Lacy true?" I'm like, what rumors about Kyron Lacey? I hadn't heard anything. I mean, obviously it's Sunday morning. I get as dialed out on the news as I can over the weekends. And he's like, they're saying on the internet that he killed himself. I'm like, what? Well, within the next half hour, I mean, we're talking like the difference between 8:30 and 9 a.m. All this started to really break. And yeah, former LSU football player Kyron Lacey was found dead in his car in Houston after a police chase Saturday night. I'm reading this from WBRZ's website. Days before he was set to appear before a grand jury that would decide if he would face charges in a fatal crash that law enforcement said he caused. New information by our news partners at WBRZ say Lacey was arguing with a family member shortly after 11 p.m. Saturday. He reportedly pulled out a gun, shot it at the ground before leaving the area. About 30 minutes later, a constable spotted Lacey driving, attempted to make a traffic stop. Deputies said Lacey refused to stop, was chased for several miles before crashing. They say he actually killed himself before the actual crash. We'll pick that up at a later time as well, but it is a sad, sad story to be sure. It would be nice if I wasn't sweating. Is it hot in here? I know it's hot on the third floor. I find that's a Monday thing. I think we might shut the air off on the weekends. I don't know if it's programmed down to the minute or whatever, but good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Hopefully you're off and running this morning. Troy is right. Jim Nance's final call was a little Carl Spackler-esque. But Carl Spackler's call was a little like that's how golf was called as well. So it's life imitating art, imitating life. Baseball highlights. Were there any? Awful weekend. Yeah, I would say Anson. He started off strong. But you're right. It was terrible. If we get rid of daylight savings time, why not get rid of time zones? That's a good question. If you're just used to like, I don't know, no, because the time does correlate with the daylight. I don't know. Let me mull that one over, Keith. That's deep. Just not today. We're not going to have a Brian Kilmeade show today. It is opening day at the state legislature. Starting next hour. In fact, we'll have Will Green on from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. We're going legislative heavy throughout the rest of the show. This hour, we've got the former CEO of Anheuser-Busch, Anson Frericks, coming on in our next segment. But next hour, the 8 o'clock hour, heavy on the legislature. Moon's heavy on the legislature. And the reason we're canceling Brian Kilmeade today, or preempting him, is because Moon and I are going to tag team for a little legislative pregame show. We're going to have lawmakers just churning through. We're going to be broadcasting from the state capitol, from the fourth floor. That's the governor's floor. From the fourth floor, we'll be coming to you all the way up until the governor addresses the state at 1-ish. So we've got you covered to get you ready for all the discussion and debate that's going to happen over the next 3 months. Right now, though, let's check your forecast. Been looking forward to this conversation for quite some time. The book is called Last Call for Bud Light. How did Bud Light get knocked out of the top of the charts when it comes to the beers? Anson Frericks is the former president of Anheuser-Busch. He joins us now. How are you, sir?
Doing great today. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
No, glad to have you on. Glad to be talking about this because it's a bigger conversation to have. Bud Light is the staple. Bud Light has always been the number one, and then Bud Light ran into a marketing problem and was kind of knocked off. Tell me all about the book, what readers can expect.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of years. So readers might recall that 2 years ago, Bud Light, the largest beer brand in America, did a partnership with Dylan Mulvaney, who was a very controversial transgender influencer. And immediately they saw sales torpedo down. They lost 30% of their sales immediately. They're down to 50% now. Millions of customers were gone. The stock price plummeted. And now 2 years later, nothing has really changed. And so I was the president of Anheuser-Busch for about 11 years. And And the year leading up to the event, I left the year beforehand, so I wasn't there when the partnership actually happened. But have the whole backstory about how this great American kind of brewery, Anheuser-Busch, owned by the Busch family, started in the 1860s, 1870s, was run by them up to 2008. But then in 2008, the company was purchased by a European company called InBev. And then I was kind of around for the next almost 15 years and saw the company make a lot of missteps. I mean, moving the headquarters from St. Louis, Missouri to New York City, hiring a lot of foreign executives, and saw a lot of the missteps that led up to this partnership. And so I wrote the book. It was, I think, a cautionary tale of what's gone wrong in kind of broader corporate America over the last couple of years. And then also just telling the inside story about the world's most beloved beer brand and how it lost its way.
So was the Dylan Mulvaney partnership most of it, or just the straw that broke the camel's back?
And I think it was really the straw that broke the camel's back. I think that the company was heading down the wrong direction for a number of years. Mm-hmm. I think the Dylan Mulvaney piece, though, I mean, to some degree, it was really a wake up for the company. I mean, Bud Light had been losing a lot of sales for a number of years. They had executives in Belgium and other areas that were running the brand. The lady that they had hired to run it, Alyssa Heinerschneid, I don't think really understood the U.S. customer. I mean, she was born in New York City, went to New York City like boarding schools, went to, I think, Harvard for undergrad, Wharton for business school. I mean, it's like not having the right people run these brands. And frankly, like I would love the company to have a comeback. And they're doing some things in the right direction. They've hired Shane Gillis to be the spokesperson of Bud Light, which feels more like a kind of a Bud Light, spokesperson than Dylan Mulvaney. They've re-sponsored the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The problem is that they actually have lost a lot of trust with their consumers, and they still haven't gained the consumer trust back. I think mostly because if you want to get redemption with your customer base, you have to be forgiven. But to be forgiven, you have to actually admit there was a mistake. And that still hasn't happened with the brand. Until that happens, I still think their sales are going to be down 50, 60%, which is sad for the company and sad for the business.
And Shane Gillis is a good call. And the local partnerships as well. I mean, Bud Light is you get Bud Light at Saints games. You get the partnership with LSU. I mean, and those are just two examples here in South Louisiana. We're talking with Anson Frericks. He's the former president of Anheuser-Busch. Within the book, within the Last Call for Bud Light, you go into the battle between shareholder capitalism and stakeholder capitalism. I feel like this is growing and growing in the wrong direction. Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if you zone out kind of a 30,000-foot view, really this Dylan Mulvaney partnership has been sort of a micro battle in this broader movement of what is the purpose of a corporation? Because that's really at the heart of this book. Is a corporation supposed to be what famous economist Milton Friedman said in the 1970s here in the U.S., is to serve its shareholders. Right. And who's a shareholder of a corporation is someone who owns the business. You own stock, you're a shareholder. How do you serve them? If you just focus on your customer base, you give them great products and services. That allows you to find more customers, grow more revenue, hire more employees, do more innovation, pay taxes, do all the things that corporations do. Or is a corporation supposed to serve so-called stakeholders? And it's more of a European view espoused by Klaus Schwab, who's the head of the World Economic Forum. And the stakeholder capitalism model, very European model, says the purpose of a corporation is to serve all stakeholders equally. And a stakeholder can be the government, it can be activists, it can be nonprofits, it can be, there can be thousands of stakeholders a company has to deal with. It's the equivalent of like, on the shareholder capitalism side, you serve one God, it's your shareholders, that's your North Star. The stakeholder capitalism model says we have to serve thousands of gods without telling you which God is most important. And that's been a big problem over the last kind of 5 to 10 years. In the United States, there's been this infiltration and influx of this stakeholder capitalism mindset in the U.S., really driven by large asset managers like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard that have adopted policies like ESG, DEI. They've done that because they manage trillions of dollars for very progressive institutions like European sovereign wealth funds, state of California's pension fund, New York's pension fund, that are there telling companies to get more involved in this stakeholder philosophy and try and solve whether it's climate change issues, systemic racism issues, censorship issues on the internet. They've essentially asked companies to get involved in a lot of these social and progressive issues. That's been kind of the current thing to do over the last 4 or 5 years. Right. I don't think it was the right thing to do because we've seen businesses like Anheuser-Busch that have lost millions of customers, billions of dollars of revenue, thousands of employees got fired, and I don't think they've solved any issue as it relates to transgender policies. So I think that stakeholder capitalism philosophy, it's been very flawed, but it's been growing. but it's the time now is to really start pushing back and getting businesses reoriented on just sort of their customers, on the bottom line, on their mission. Leave the politics out. Let politics be solved by politicians, not CEOs.
Why is it so many companies swing and miss when they get involved in the ESG and the DEI and all the social political aspects of it? So many swing and miss, but there's a few out there that actually thrive in that space.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ones that actually like thrive in the space, like they're just authentically more progressive and social. The ones that I think are like Ben and Jerry's. You know, like I in American capitalism, companies can have any mission that they want to, or like any customer want. Ben and Jerry's, I mean, they're very public. On their website, they say we use ice cream to advance a social and progressive mission. Like that's what we do. And when you buy our ice cream, you are going to be contributing to whatever it is, like fighting back against, I don't know, overturning election integrity laws and doing climate change things and doing racial justice and doing like all these different things with the ice cream. They're at least open about it. You buy it, you got it. On the other side, you have companies like Black Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle Coffee Company, they serve coffee and culture to firefighters and military and police and first responders and people who love America. They tend to be more conservative. That's great. That's what's great about this country is you can have businesses serve different customers. I think like the problem that you had with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light was supposed to be a brand that was just about their tagline was easy to drink, easy to enjoy. They did that because they gave people sports and music and backyard barbecues. That was what the brand was. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the partnership with Mulvaney, it started to look like Ben and Jerry's. And that's not what Bud Light was. That's not who its customer base was. That was not sort of the ethos and the brand. And therefore they lost a bunch of their customer base that just wanted Bud Light to be Bud Light. They didn't want it to be Ben and Jerry's.
I've got so much more I got to squeeze in here, but we've only got a couple minutes left. We are talking with the former president of Anheuser-Busch. We're talking with Anson Frericks about last call for Bud Light. You mentioned about when seeking forgiveness, you have to actually admit that you had done wrong. Has too much time passed for Bud Light to go back and have any level of contrition?
I think under the current ownership, it has. I mean, they had their opportunity to admit there was a mistake, and their CEO, wrote multiple letters and was on CBS and never admitted there was an error. I actually think what the company needs to do, though, and most Americans love a great American comeback story. They love a redemption story, but I don't think it's going to happen under the current ownership. And Anheuser-Busch is now owned by so it's part of a larger global organization. I think that what actually makes the most sense is for InBev to actually sell Anheuser-Busch in the U.S. back to American owners. And if they sell it back to American owners, I mean, you sell it to Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, or you sell it to a group of U.S. private equity firms. And then all of a sudden you could have this amazing comeback story that says like, now we're American owned, brewing beer in America, brewing it for Americans. And oh, by the way, like we have now new executives and the old company, like they screwed up, made a mistake with Bud Light. Bud Light moving forward is going to be once again focused on sports and music, not touching, controversial kind of like political folks. But we also have like then a portfolio of brands that'll serve other people. We have Busch Light that's going to be for hunters. We have Mick Ultra that's for athletes. We have, craft beers that are for more progressive folks. We have a whole portfolio here. I think if they do that, they can actually like rewrite like an amazing tale. And hell, this was a company that survived prohibition where you couldn't, serve beer for 10 plus years in this country. I think they can actually like write a great comeback story as well, but it's not going to happen under the current ownership.
The book's called Last Call for Bud Light. He's Anson Frericks. Man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It's a fascinating book. Love the read, and I appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
We're at 648 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Anson Frericks, the former president of Anheuser-Busch. And once again, the book is called Last Call for Bud Light. I found it to be a fascinating conversation about how, just honestly trigger happy we are as a populace. And I'm just curious, like, are you still on that bandwagon? Or because I remember it was angry at the time. And then like Target out angried us. So we all kind of moved on. But did you move back? Let me know. Post up on our Facebook page. We're live on Facebook on Talk 107.3 every day, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. Let me know over there. If you were a Bud Light guy before, or any of Anheuser-Busch's products before, did you go back? Did you ever leave? I never left. I'm not the boycott guy. Never have been, never will be. But let us know. Let's have that conversation. Before we get you to break, got to remind you about P.F. Chang's. If you don't have your lunch plans yet, might I suggest the folks over at P.F. Chang's. They're in Town Center off Corporate Boulevard. Look for the giant golden horse. Got specials going on throughout the month, throughout the lunar eclipse. I'm sorry, the Lunar New Year. They've got specials going on, which I believe is coming to a close very soon, if I'm not mistaken. This is the year of the snake. I don't know what that means. But I know I love P.F. Chang's. I know I love the sesame beef. I know I love the Mongolian beef. I know if you want lighthearted fare for lunchtime, the chicken lettuce wraps are fantastic. I know I've never gone wrong at P.F. Chang's, and that's why I recommend them every single day. Off Corporate Boulevard in Town Square, it's P.F. Chang's. Here's your money now. Mary? You want the notes from them on that interview so you'll know you don't have to run it through AI? That's me. Me too, though. It's like spit all over this thing. It's not even mine because it wasn't there when I left on Friday. 6:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Talk 107.3 and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The following local businesses have also pledged to match your donations throughout the month: Lewis Mechanical, Patient Plus, and Action Industries, plus Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevrolet, Luba, and Duplessis Pool Builders. Visit talk1073.com to help us reach our goal, and together we can help make dreams come true. 1 hour from right now, we're actually going to have a Dream Kid in studio with us, so looking forward to that. 5 hours from now, the legislative session kicks off. Really 6. Things really get rolling with the governor's opening comments. But 5 hours from now, they'll gavel in. They will convene over the state capitol. Insurance rates are going to be the biggest fight, y'all. I know it is a fiscal session, and the budget should be the biggest fight, but insurance rates are, as it seems right now, will be the biggest fight. Commissioner Tim Temple is supporting a package of legal reform bills, including a bill to cap damage awards in a lawsuit. However, the folks over at Real Reform Louisiana, Ben Riggs is the executive director there, he says tort reform hasn't worked in the past.
We've watched, for example, in 2020,
No.
after tort reform measures were passed, we were promised we'd see as much as a 25% rate reduction, and instead what we got was skyrocketing rates.
What we also got there was a half-ended measure, and what we also got there, you might remember this, is a little thing called the pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic rolled through about that time as well, and everybody stopped driving, and then everybody started driving again. And there were market forces at work that definitely changed the game, to be sure. Now, to go along with that, though, what we passed then needed follow-up, and a lot of it, because we didn't. The bills that passed then did not get it done. Riggs says the only thing that Temple's approach would accomplish is to regulate the policyholders and not the insurance companies.
It regulates policyholders by limiting our legal rights and taking away avenues of recourse to hold our insurance companies accountable when they fail to pay our claims.
Now, Real Reform Louisiana, who seems to support trial lawyers at every turn, doesn't like anything that the insurance commissioner's out to do. Well, I shouldn't say doesn't like anything, but the big chunk things, the things that the insurance commissioner thinks will take the biggest, have the biggest effect for us, those are the ones they oppose. Now, I want to go back to Riggs for one more comment here. While auto insurance reform will be the biggest issue facing lawmakers this session, it won't be the only one. Riggs says 2 other bills stand out to him that he and his organization are getting behind.
Representative Sylvia Taylor has a bill to prohibit age discrimination. Senator Royce Duplessis's bill, which guarantees a rate reduction. The Fortified Roof Program provides us with the best long-term solution to reducing risk in our state.
Which I'm glad to hear him say that, because the Fortified Roof Program does provide the opportunity for insurance companies to decide they want to do business here. And part of the decision to do business here, insurance companies are still companies. They're not required to work everywhere and insure everybody under the sun. They are a for-profit business, all right? And they can pick and choose where they go and who they serve. And that's part of the equation here that we have to keep in mind. By the way, go back to the part about tort reform, about how it doesn't work. Couldn't help but follow along on Twitter over the weekend, where attorney Morris Bart tweeted, "I'm still waiting for Jeff Landry, Tim Temple, and Blake Miguez to give me the name of just one large automobile insurance company in Louisiana that agrees to reduce their rates if your laws pass. Remember, no state in America has been able to reduce insurance rates by passing tort reform laws. No state in America," he says. Shout out to State Representative Michael Mellerine, who actually showed him with receipts that it has happened in Florida. So why not emulate them? Quick break for news. Hour 2's next. this is I hear the air conditioner. I hope it's not me. Like I hope like my radiator didn't bust. Do people work like that? Can you have where your radiator like a person? Well, I think they call that running a fever.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope I'm not sick.
Yeah.
I will drink some antifreeze just to find out.
It's easy.
It's green and glows. How can it be bad for you?
I don't know. I'm not as warm, but I don't know.
I'm dying over here, man.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Definitely hear it though.
Like R. Kelly on a playground. Such a dated reference.
Oh no.
What's going on? Throw out your trending stories.
Okay.
All right. We're going to talk festivals.
Okay.
I think it's more apropos for what's happening here rather than the stuff that's happening nationally.
It's
fair.
Space.
Yeah. We might circle back to that one. You know, if that shuttle explodes,
listen,
firework becomes an anthem. I have until Wednesday to go to confession.
Do you ever feel? Anyway, oof.
I'm not. As one that was just for the Facebook audience, John. That's too much. All right, 7:05 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We are getting you ready for our second hour. We're starting off at 57 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, and going to be a busy hour. We will have top stories and more of a local bend on trending in just a second. We'll have Medical Monday. And then Will Green from LABI is going to be on with us. Let's get down to business, as Tiesto would say. It is time, y'all. It is opening day of the legislative session, and I'm here for it, for all of it. Programming note, after this show, Moon Griffon's going to be broadcasting live from the state capitol for his show. And then me and Moon, we're going to tag team for a little pregame show of sorts, churning state legislators through, as we'll both be broadcasting together from the capitol all the way up until the governor addresses the state to kick things off at 1 p.m.-ish. So we've got you covered on opening day all the way through the governor's comments before we turn things back over to the Ramsey Show after that. All right. Reaching for notes. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Number 5.
A former state senator's home health care company is being sued after the alleged negligent care of an Ascension Parish woman who later died, according to the Advocate. They posted the story up on Friday. Troy Brown, who served as a Democrat in Napoleonville, owns and operates the company Home Care PCA LLC. Now, according to the Advocate, the children of the now deceased woman sued Brown's company and Tyree to Sam, one of their employees. The suit alleges that Sam, quote, failed to treat resident Catherine Simmons properly and seek necessary medical intervention before her death last year.
Number 4.
The Baton Rouge Fire Department finished first place at the Firefighter Beach Challenge in Pensacola. The fire department sent this press release out on, I believe it was Saturday night. The competition featured multiple challenges that firefighters face in real life, but simulated versions on the beach. You got to think about that, right? That's tough. Full firefighter gear and trying to drag a hose across the beach. Full firefighter gear and you're like trudging with a ladder. I mean, whatever the case might be. Well, shout out to Baton Rouge Fire Department for winning first place in that.
Number 3.
A former Louisiana Department of Health secretary was reappointed to the position by Governor Jeff Landry on Friday. Bruce Greenstein previously served as health secretary under Governor Jindal from 2010 to 2013. He resumes that post today.
Number 2.
Former LSU football player Kyron Lacey was found dead in his car in Houston after a police chase Saturday night, having apparently shot himself during the chase. The details are still coming in. Our news partners at WBRZ have a pretty detailed account of how things allegedly went down. Lacey was facing charges for vehicular manslaughter, or he'd gotten into a previous car accident and had allegedly killed somebody. His attorneys put up a big statement talking about how he's been vilified in the media. This whole and all the while he's getting ready for the NFL draft. It just everything about this story is sad.
Number 1.
Well, once French Quarter Fest was done, let the shooting begin. 4 people were shot in New Orleans on Sunday night, less than 2 hours after French Quarter Festival wrapped up. WWL reports that the shooting happened at 8:30 p.m. at the intersection of Iberville and Decatur. The area was blocked off from traffic by NOPD. 4 victims were taken to a hospital. Their condition is unknown. And the French Quarter Festival wasn't the only festival with a shooting. John, it's such a shame, man. Such great festivals, and it's festival time in Louisiana. You went down to Strawberry Fest.
I did. Only to find Saturday.
To
find out that night was the shooting.
Man.
And it's unfortunate.
Well, and Strawberry Fest has really, this is a testament to success for Strawberry Fest. Not the shooting, obviously,
right?
But parking is a huge problem. It's outgrown. It's bigger than its britches now. And I think that tells you how awesome it is that they can't. I mean, tell your story.
Absolutely. Parking was horrendous to say the least. But once I found a spot, it was amazing. I mean, we were where we were parked at. We were parked right by the exit of the festival.
Okay,
so we just kind of slid on.
Kind of Griswolded your way through there.
Yeah. You know, it was a good spot. But it took us longer to find parking than we actually stayed there.
Okay,
it was just too packed.
Yeah,
I mean, we were between my kids, my brother's kids. We had 5 kids.
Yeah,
between us, they're hot. They're getting miserable. And there's just the traffic was just
but also okay. So I'm kind of going to put this on you.
Yeah,
if you're bringing the kids, daytime's the time to go.
Absolutely,
because as the night wears on, the acts on stage get bigger. Yeah. Right. So
I was there about 1 o'clock.
Oh, that's not nighttime.
No.
All right, you did just fine.
Yeah. It was around 1 o'clock.
All right,
which was fine. The kids really dealt with it. We got we got some.
I mean, they can't stop the hot.
Oh no, they were good. They were good with that. It was just they wanted to go on rides, and we're looking at the lines, and it's like,
it's like Disney, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be there for a while.
Strawberry Festival needs a fast pass.
Yeah, so we were just, we were okay with it. We're like, you know what, this is it. This is the environment, but there's just too much of us. There's too many of us.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm over there in Bell Chase watching my daughter play basketball really, really well. I got a proud papa for just a moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is her first season playing AAU ball, right?
Okay.
So this is really a step up. She played club ball before with the Mongoose thing, and she plays in her, her Catholic league, and I've been her coach. And Stephen Hightower's been her coach, and but this is moving up a level, right?
That's cool.
And it's just it's heartwarming to step aside, not be a coach, just be a parent and be a fan for a little while, and watch her thrive.
I was
not just survive, but thrive.
Great, right?
She was really, really good. back-to-back three-pointers in one game. She knows how to dish the rock really, really well. Just plays defense like nobody else. I was proud. Now, here's the thing, though. This is why I love Louisiana. Yes, we were in Belle Chase at basically the end of General de Gaulle. Like, I didn't know General de Gaulle ended, but it ends. And there's this little loop-de-loop, and then there's this Plaquemine Parish multi-sport complex. And right next door to that was a huge crawfish cook-off. So we had a game. Yeah, Saturday we had a game at 10:30 and a game at 4. It's like, what are we going to do? I don't want to watch 8th grade girls play basketball for 5.5 hours in between, right? So we just walked on over next door. It's like, can we get in on this? Paid for the admission, got the wristband. Really, that was a mistake, because the wristband for the crawfish cook-off was the same color as the wristband for the basketball tournament. So I probably could have gotten away with free crawfish all day with my basketball wristband, but that's neither here nor there. I could tell you the folks from Turner Industries, really good crawfish. Triad, really good crawfish. Venture Global, keep working. You're getting there. I could tell you the Plaquemine Parish Sheriff is way better boiling crawfish than the Plaquemine Parish President.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And their booths were right next to each other. A little bit of jawing going on.
But isn't that great about being in Louisiana, right? I mean,
there's more than
what are we going to do? Oh, wait.
More than 30 different booths doing crawfish.
Oh, incredible.
And you just go up there, you get your little sample. Like it's like a nacho bowl size.
So it's like a pay one price, but you
pay one price and you sample all of them.
That's it.
Yeah, and then buy your tickets to get your beer.
Love that.
And swamp pop music going on stage the whole time.
Beautiful weekend too.
Oh,
I mean, the weather. Everything.
So remember last hour I was telling you about my buddy Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a bald head.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
no hat. You wouldn't wear
no
a hat.
Oh
no.
No hat. No sunscreen. He showed up at the gym on Sunday. Bright red, man.
Redhead. Yeah.
Looked like Office Depot's easy button.
Ooh. Yikes. No, but that's awesome. That's incredible. Sounds like a great weekend. Despite the tragedy,
but that's the thing though, man. It's like you had it in Ponchatoula, which Tangipahoa doesn't get held to task enough for their crime. There's a lot more shooting going on in Tangipahoa than is, because we have it in the outside end darn near every day.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's mostly Hammond, but like they're not held to task the same way that New Orleans and Baton Rouge are, because per capita, they do some shooting. Hey, you had one more trending story there.
Oh,
I know I kind of derailed you.
Do you mean the all-female space crew that's launching today? Is that it?
Yeah. That's what's going on
today. Mission NS-31. Blue Origins, the first all-female flight crew, which includes Katy Perry, Jeff Bezos' fiance, Lauren Sanchez, and of course Gail King. So, man, they're going up, and
11 minutes in space.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at here.
And there's so many.
We've
been kind of joking off air.
No, I'm not
doing
it again.
No.
I caught a little hell in off air for that.
But nonetheless,
yeah,
they're going to space.
They gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Gotta own the night like the 4th of July.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's Katy Perry right there, boss.
Yep.
714 Talk 107.3 FM. We got Medical Monday next. We might have to run a repeat.
Oh.
Okay, cool. We'll be on the lookout. Thank you. All right. Dr. Brick Donner. Yep. No, come back to me. Regular bumper, come to me, and we'll hit as soon as they're on. There he is. All right. 717 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're getting you to Medical Monday here in just a minute. But while I have a quick minute, I do need to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. VEX. It's V as in Vinny. Vinny and his team have been at this for over a decade now, celebrating their 10th anniversary. If you drive a European vehicle, cannot give them a higher recommendation than I do. I drive a 17-year-old European vehicle. You can well imagine that anything that could go wrong is going to be going wrong. But shout out to the guys at Vex European, because they've got me taken care of to make sure my vehicle is taken care of with a technician as master level. It's Mercedes-Benz. If you go to their website, hit the little drop-down tab by vehicles, see your vehicles make on there: Land Rover, Jaguar, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi. If you see your vehicles make on there, go ahead and hit that appointment tab. Set up an appointment over there. Hit the specials tab. See if you can't save $100 on it. VexEuropean.com. All right, it's time for Medical Monday. All right, it is time for Medical Monday, and we are joined right now by Dr. McCormick, talking a little bit about seasonal allergies. Dr. McCormick, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you on here. Obviously, you're probably hearing it in my voice. The pollen's been killing me. Let's go ahead and talk. You were a pediatric allergist and an immunologist over at Our Lady of the Lakes Children's Health. So you're just the guy to talk to about this. We all know what allergies, quote unquote, are. Well, no, let me rephrase that. We know what symptoms are. What is an allergy?
Well, in simple terms, to be honest with you, allergies just reference things that are triggering allergic responses. What do we mean by allergic responses? Symptoms of runny nose, congestion, sneezing, coughing, and for some people that can also affect their skin and maybe even manifest as food allergy.
What percentage of your patients would say they have allergies or conditions related to allergies? Basically, how common is this amongst the population?
Oh, with the population, the latest data suggests that about 1 in 5 Americans have some degree of allergy that they suffer from. And so we're talking a lot of people. In my particular practice, where I see mostly children, I'd say nearly 2/3 will have some degree of an allergic condition that we're trying to manage.
Okay, I want to expound upon that for just a second. So we have to leave the rails here for a minute. And we're talking with Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health about seasonal allergies. You said 2/3 of children, but 1 in 5 essentially overall. Do we grow out of it?
The answer is yes. Your sensitivity or how easy it is for you to react to your environment can change over time because people's bodies change over time, hormonal issues, age. We do see a fair number of children, especially as they get into their mid to late teens, change and oftentimes just develop more tolerance and are not as allergic. But of course, we have no way of knowing who they would be over time.
All right, let's talk about the difference between like regular allergies and seasonal allergies. What is the difference there?
Well, it's a bit of a semantic issue. When people refer to allergies, they're really referring to nasal symptoms, runny nose, congestion, sneezing, things of that nature. Seasonal is much more when you have certain times of the year, particularly spring and fall. Especially in this time of year, we have a lot of children and young adults and older adults who manifest a lot of runny nose, congestion, sneezing, headaches, itchy, watery eyes that can just come about certain seasons, then take a dip, and then resurface again in the fall based on how allergic they are to their environment.
You could be both, though, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have some people who have year-round symptoms because they're sensitized to indoor allergens, things like dust mites, cat or dog, maybe even mold, which can be really prevalent indoors and outdoors, especially how humid it is in Louisiana.
We're talking with Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake Children's Health. Seasonal allergies, is it also regional allergies? I mean, is it more like prevalent in this part of the country?
You would think, to be honest with you, we all think that depending upon the part of the country, but we will say generally southeast, southwest will experience more pollen exposure. The closer you are to the equator of the world, or the warmer the climates are, especially with the Earth kind of getting a little bit warmer now, pollen is at its all-time highest. I mean, plants are putting out way more pollen than they used to 10, 15 years ago. And the pollen seasons tend to be a little bit longer. And so we kind of disproportionately are affected more in Southeast Louisiana.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of God's cruel joke, right? As soon as the weather gets nice enough to get outside and enjoy everything, you just get attacked with the seasonal allergies.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to do anything outdoors, you want to do it midday or closer in the afternoon.
Really?
Pollen count especially. But, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, it varies during the day?
Yes, absolutely. The highest peak pollen count is in the morning, usually between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
I thought when you had pollen count, it was just, that was the pollen for the day. I had no idea it varied within the day.
It's in.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Continue.
I was just going to say it's important to know that because a lot of people do activities outdoors. They walk, they run, and they do things. And a lot of our children are standing outside for buses. And so they're disproportionately affected because that's when the pollen count's the highest.
All right, let's get into a little bit about the why. Why do people get allergies, and what are some of the things that might trigger the seasonal allergies?
With the why, some children and adults they're born with that genetic predisposition for their body or their immune system to kind of get exposed and produce this type of response. And the response is that they would overproduce mucus, they'll cause their airways to get constricted, or their skin is a little bit more programmed to accept irritants from the environment, which become allergens. And we're talking pollen, we're talking foods, we're talking pets, we're talking mold. And it develops over time, and it varies depending upon how you are exposed. So the more you're exposed over time, we have a lot of people do things outdoors, indoors, and things of that nature, they can manifest a lot more symptoms, and it can really impact their quality of life.
Symptoms wise, when it comes to regular allergies, we see things like I just, as an example, a peanut allergy, where you would, some parents actually have to carry EpiPens with them everywhere they go. Do you see the same symptoms for seasonal allergies that you do for other allergies?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Typically with food allergies, they would have, it could begin with skin manifestations, lung manifestations, and we're talking about rash, swelling, things of that nature, trouble swallowing, or that goes into more of the anaphylaxis, more severe type of allergic response. When we're talking about seasonal allergies, we're talking about the onset of itchy, watery eyes, runny nose, itchy nose, and sneezing. Nasal congestion is not necessarily a classic sign of allergies because that can happen with colds, viruses, and just irritants in the environment. But the more that nose is itchy, the more the eyes or the face itchy and people are rubbing their nose, the more there is a concern about whether or not they're allergic to something.
You know what? I'm going to skip around a little bit here because I want to follow up on that, Dr. McCormick, if we could. By the way, this is Medical Monday presented by the folks over at Our Lady of the Lake, and we're talking seasonal allergies. So if there's so many similar symptoms between, let's say, the common cold, allergies, or now over the last 5 years, you got to throw COVID in the mix here. So many common symptoms. What does it take to tell the difference?
Typically, the duration of symptoms and how severe they are and the presence of fever. Yes, being allergic and having allergy type symptoms can make you feel rotten or crummy and have headaches and things of that nature. But when we're talking about predominant nasal congestion, a discolored discharge coming from the nose in the setting of coughing and or sore throat, plus or minus a headache, you tend to be a little bit more concerned about an illness, more often viral illnesses. And in this day and age, when you throw in the situation of feeling really tired, really fatigued, muscle body ache, significant headache, you're worried about some of the more significant viral illnesses like influenza or parainfluenza. But when you throw in the decrease in the ability to smell and or some of those additional symptoms, sometimes it gets really tough to determine whether or not that's influenza or COVID. But COVID is much more likely to take away your sense of smell. Thankfully, it's temporary.
But aren't we clear of flu season already?
We still have flu in the environment right now. So it's not at peak time, but we still are seeing some patients with influenza right now. And so we were advising influenza vaccines to help reduce the significant symptoms and reduce hospitalization as late as last week. And so it's still hanging around, but it's definitely not nearly as bad as it was December through early March.
All right, let's talk about the parents that have children here. Well, all parents have children. Let's talk about our listeners who are parents. How about that for better phrasing? If our listeners who are parents out there, what do they need to be on the lookout for?
Well, the children with frequently runny nose and wiping their face, and also sounding stuffy and coughing a lot at nighttime. Those are the worrisome signs that keep children up at night. They can negatively affect their school performance. Their sleep will be disturbed. Yep. And so we end up being in a situation where those children are getting sick very often because the more frequent the nasal symptoms are, they will pick up more respiratory infections. And so it may be good to start with their primary care physician and see whether or not they'll do better seeing an allergist to help support their care, to help reduce that impact on their quality of life.
We got just a minute or so left with Dr. McCormick. He's an allergist and immunologist with Our Lady of the Lake. This is, of course, Medical Mondays presented by Our Lady of the Lake, where do we send somebody? If someone wants to learn more, if they want a consultation, if they want to schedule an appointment, where do they need to go?
Oh, they can go to OLOL Children's Health. You can go to Allergy and Immunology. You can find us there. You can call 225-765-5500, and you'll navigate the prompts to find our allergist and our organization. And you can always go with your primary care physicians and let them know that that you would like to seek further help with regards to those nasal symptoms and our allergy or allergic conditions, and then they'll get you in touch with us as well.
I'm sorry, one more, and I've got to kind of backtrack on this one a little bit. We're in like the pollen season and whatnot, but does allergy season actually end?
Yes, it does. I mean, right now we're in predominantly grass pollen season.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest issue right now. And so it's going to die down going into late summer. And then we'll get into fall, which was more weed pollen season. So it just kind of cycles, and they kind of it's like a relay race. They hand the baton to the next predominant allergen. So, but it is highly individual. So I think that's the key to remember.
He is Dr. McCormick from Our Lady of the Lake. Fantastic stuff, man. Thank you so much for a great segment.
No problem. Thank you.
We're at 729 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We will check news in exactly 1 minute from right now. Yes, allergy season. Yes, pollen season, but that also means spring cleaning. Take a look at your house. Take a look at your office building, if you own the office building. Got a little bit of mold, got a little bit of algae growing, a little bit of mildew on the side there, like a green tinge or even a black tinge on the side. Well, now think about your roof. I mean, you're not going to get up and look at your roof, but if you hop on CajunSoftwash.com, CajunSoftwash.com, 100% safe and effective soft wash. Clean that up. Not just clean it up, not just make it look better, but make it healthier as well. If you've got algae, mold, or mildew growing on top of your roof, it's bad for the lifespan of your roof. Use them, safe and effective. They've got the drone technology to, number one, make sure you've got something up there. Number two, address it safely without having to stomp all over your shingles or, God forbid, pressure wash your shingles. That is a soft wash process. They'll take care of your roof. They'll take care of your walls. They'll take care of your sidewalk as well. Get it all looking pristine, getting all beautiful. Make sure you're putting that best foot forward with CajunSoftwash.com. Quick break for news, traffic, weather. Will Green's up next. My buddy Scott texted me. He says, I heard my sunburned head got 15 seconds of fame this morning. I said, you look like Staples Easy Button. Every time he says Maha, I go back to that Jesse Ventura thing. Living in the Baja. I don't even live in the continental United States anymore. I'm in the Baja. The notes from Medical Monday, so you don't have to AI those. Oh, if I fold it like that, it goes. I think we got a solution, boss. All right. Where's he at? No. I'm talking about where's Patrick Reynolds in the chat? Galen says State Representative Amy Freeman is sponsoring a bill supported by Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple to require that any new roof in coastal parishes be built to the fortified standard. A similar bill was shelved in 2023 amid opposition from home builders. This is a huge one. Disappointing one-time costs are stopping recurring savings. I wonder how the fortified roof program will affect that bill because the program has grown. So we got to. I want deeper. I want a deeper cut on this before I know about it. Amy Freeman is, well, she could be level-headed from time to time. We don't have to figure out the magic sauce, just emulate others' successes. I know. But like, to be fair, Chick-fil-A sauce sucks compared to Cane's sauce. So why not just go straight to Cane's and get their recipe? On that note, Chick-fil-A sauce is awful. It's awful. Is that what it is? Is this honey mustard?
I think it's like a honey mustard type of.
Bro. I mean, granted, my palate is based off of Cane's, based off of years and years and years of getting hammered at the varsity and needing something greasy afterwards. But like, you know, you build character that way. Opening day of the legislative session. We're going to dig in with La B in just a minute. First, though, let's get your forecast. I haven't even listened. Does it indicate today? Byron says, should we have them dock with the ISS? No, it's too much like parallel parking. Let's not give a shout out. Well, he probably meant this to be private, but I'm out. No, I'm not going to say who it was. I got a text message from someone who said 11-minute flight to space and they're going to be putting makeup on in the mirror the whole time. Where do you stop to pee?
It's 11 minutes. Come on.
It takes more than that to get up there, though. They're in space for 11 minutes.
Right. Oh, yeah, true, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. It is opening day, y'all. Fired up. A lot could be going on over at the legislature later today. The governor will give his address at 1-ish. Me and Moon doing a little pregame show from 11 to 1-ish. We're going to take you all the way up to the governor's opening statements. After that, it's down to business, y'all. And to talk about that, we have the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Their president and CEO is Will Green. Will, welcome back. How are you, man?
Good morning, Brian. A lot of meetings with our members, a lot of conversations with legislative leadership. I've traveled all over the state, having conversations with businesses of all shapes and sizes, and hopefully it has led to this morning where the legislature, the House and the Senate will gavel in around noon, and we will continue to do the great work that we've done over the last 2024 to continue to move the state forward, man. It's an exciting time, man. The first pitch today at noon.
Okay, you said some magic words right there. First pitch today at noon. I get romantic about the opening of the legislative session the same way I do about the opening of a baseball season, the same way I do about the first day of school. I mean, there's just something special in the air there where everybody wants to start off on the right foot. So whether you are a lifelong Louisiana resident or a lifelong Mets fan, there's still hope at the beginning. I'm not alone here, right? I mean, you feel that too.
Well, I mean, I think, now, and we've talked about this before, Brian, I mean, I think there's so much energy and excitement really coming into this session, maybe even more than the past few years, just because of all the opportunity, right? I mean, this time last year, we were entering into, had a new governor, new commissioner of insurance, new attorney general, new leadership in the House and Senate. We had, we were losing more population than we were gaining. We were in the 40s in education, 40s in tax. We had three of the top 10 violent crime cities in the country. And immediately they went to work with regular sessions and special sessions. And, you're seeing us now, we're predicted to go down into the 20s in our tax ranking from the 40s. We went down into the 30s in education as a result of a lot of the efforts made over the last couple of years. And the last year we expanded corporate charters. We passed education savings accounts. We expanded on our high dosage tutoring and math and reading. And we did reshuffled economic development department and the workforce commission, and they're attracting steel manufacturing and meta facilities. And so at the end of the year, we closed out by lowering the corporate franchise, repealing the corporate franchise tax, lowering corporate income, flattening and lowering personal income. And so, as a result, 2024 was monumental, right? We're seeing the kind of projects that we haven't seen in decades, and our rankings, we're climbing rankings that we haven't climbed in decades. And so that's a lot of positive things, but we still have a ton of work left to do to continue to create a modern, fair, and stable tax and economic development structure. We're still among the highest cost states in the country for car insurance. We've still got to really realign and reform and retool some agencies, including DOTD. And Brian, we're attracting investment and manufacturing, but we've got to prioritize workforce needs-based jobs in order to fill and meet the demand of all the new economic opportunity. And so we can't just talk about the wins and celebrate the wins. We've got to keep our foot on the gas.
Addressing workforce needs-based jobs. Expound upon that. What's our angle here?
Yeah, so we talk to our members a lot about it, and one of the things that we think is making the business case for early childhood. We have one of the highest labor force participation rates in the country, meaning we have some of the highest non-participation rates, I should say. Yeah. Right now, Louisiana, I believe we're at about 58%, 58.5% is our current labor force participation rate. To close the gap, the state needs an additional 145,000 people to add to its labor force. And so one of the ways that we want to talk about doing that is expanding access to high quality early childhood education, and make the business case for early childhood education. And when you drill down into those numbers, a lot of the reason that we've looked at that people are not participating in the workforce is because they don't have access to either childcare or they can't afford childcare. And when you drill down and look at some studies that have been done, what we found that 1 in 7 residents with a child 4 and under turned down a promotion. 1 in 6 were forced to quit a job, and 1 in 13 were fired because of childcare issues. And so if we can figure out a way to expand and to have businesses either offer childcare, incentivize childcare, if we can expand some of the tax credits for childcare, that's just more people that we can add, more able-bodied parents that we can add, talented individuals, talented Louisiana citizens we can add back to the workforce. And then we need to prioritize workforce development solutions, that equip Louisianians with skills needed for high-wage, high-demand careers, right? I mean, so prioritizing and expanding on the MJ Foster program. That's something we tweaked a little bit last year. We'll be looking at legislation to expand that again this year. So that's just a couple of things we've been talking about, Brian.
Wait, reset us on what that program is.
What the MJ Foster?
Yeah.
So the MJ Foster is kind of like TOPS, right? And so it TOPS was for kids that came straight out of high school, right? I mean, that's kind of the TOPS that probably you and I know. And so we found that there's also, folks out there, ex-offenders, and also people that maybe are going to a 2-year community technical college, or maybe adults out there that need an opportunity as well to either be retooled or reskilled. And so there's access to these funds now as well. We decreased the age for that you can now get access to the MJ Foster Promise Program funds. I believe that's going to scale down to 17, where you can get access to that and go into a 2-year technical college. And so just expanding access to those dollars, expanding needs-based jobs, enrollments, and things like that. And so we think that that's one of the keys to getting high-wage, high-demand jobs filled.
So basically, I mean, not to oversimplify it, but TOPS for LCTCS. I mean, that's way of an oversimplification because it's more complex than that. But it's so badly needed right now. When you look at announcements was it Venture LNG? When you look at announcements like Hyundai and like the $4 billion announcement from last week, when you see these things happening, River Parishes Community College should be bursting at the seams right now. And if it's not, then what are we doing wrong?
Yes, I mean, I think it's just educating, getting into high schools and educating kids about the opportunity, right? I mean, a four-year degree isn't for everybody, and I think that one of the things that we can do a better job of is these apprenticeship programs, and getting into high schools and getting kids into an apprenticeship program where they're getting training on the job in some of these facilities, and they see and they feel and they touch the opportunity. They're connected with a mentor. They see that they can come straight out of high school earning a significant living with benefits, and it's not just a job, it's a career. And it does a couple of things, Brian. Number one, it keeps the kid in Louisiana. It keeps them passionate about graduating high school, so recidivism goes down. And it fills a needs-based job, and it basically starts a career. And so it is an absolute win-win-win for the student, for the business, and for the school. And so we love talking about it.
We got Will Green from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry on with us for a couple more minutes as we're getting ready for the opening of the legislative session. Technically noon today, though the governor's address really kicks things off at 1. And the real honest to God business doesn't start probably until tomorrow. I mean, today, you get your syllabus, you find out where your locker is, that sort of thing. But tomorrow, committee meetings are going to be running full speed. I mean, right out the blocks. How important is a fast start to this session?
So, we used to joke that the first week kind of was syllabus week, right? Yeah. I mean, you get your gavel in and bills are read in, they're assigned, and you kind of get to kind of take a breath and see where everything's going and read bills. But boy, I'll tell you what, under this administration and with these legislators, they hit the ground running, and they are hitting the ground running this week, especially with a shortened fiscal session. it is a short session, and we've got a lot of work to do, especially on the insurance side of things. I mean, normally insurance is not in a fiscal session when they really focus on tax and budget. Insurance does not take as much of a priority, but it has. I'm sure your listeners are fully aware it has taken center stage because it is such a crisis. And so insurance is meeting this week, civil law is meeting this week, and they're going to hear some of the, we think, critical bills to help bring back insurance carriers to Louisiana. These are measures that have been done in Florida. They've been done in Georgia. Some have been done in Arkansas to try to make their states more attractive for insurance carriers to write. And so they're coming up this week, things like the Housley presumption, things like modified comparative fault, things like general damage caps, things like medical expense transparency. These are all things that are going to be discussed in the first week of session to try to get the ball rolling on some insurance reform.
Yeah, we had Emily Shidavir and Gabe Ferment in studio on Friday, and I mean, they are chomping at the bit. They're ready to roll starting tomorrow morning, to be sure. So I'm looking for a quick start out the gates because, like you said, this is still a fiscal session. Budgetary issues are going to have to be a priority at some point. So if you're working on those insurance issues, you want to get them, down that legislative process, that whole schoolhouse rock. I'm just a bill. You want them moving along quickly so they can get out in front of the budget.
That's exactly right. You want to get those things out. You want to get them moving. You want to get them kind of off through the process, and so that you can focus on some of the budget. Obviously that became a little more difficult with CA2 not passing.
Yeah.
They've got to go back to the drawing board on that. And so you don't want the insurance conversation bogged down in the budget. And how do we, take out some of the things in CA2 that we know everybody agreed on to get that passed so we don't have the budget issues? How do we get some of these tax, continue to move forward on the tax? How do we, maybe continue down that inventory tax conversation? And you don't want insurance bogged down in the middle of all that. So let's get insurance going. Let's get it moved. Let's get it through the process, and so that you can kind of focus on other things on the back end.
He is Will Green, president and CEO of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Joins us every Monday. You going out there today, or you wait until tomorrow before you hit the Capitol?
Brian, we still got some council meetings today where we review a lot of the legislation with our issue councils, and so we'll be doing a lot of that most of the day. And then so if I have time, I always love getting up there and watching the governor speak. But if not, you better believe I'll be watching it from my desk.
Or you could listen to it right here on Talk 107.3 FM. I mean, if you find yourself on the road at that time, we got you covered. Will Green, we'll talk to you soon, brother. Always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. All right, we got to blow right past your money now. Quick break, come back. Dreams come true. We got a dreams come true kid in the house next. We got both of y'all or just Abram? Okay. I'm going to move over to 2 just in case, okay? Remind me your name.
Carly.
We're going to tell your story from the beginning, as if you had never been here before. Because I mean, the listeners, They're all broken. That's our headphone graveyard.
Oh, poor headphones.
In the cabinet that have been missing since they tore the cabinets apart, and I didn't even think that people had stuff in those anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
In these cabinets, the ones that were right out there.
He's the only one that I guess.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, thank God those are out of your microphone.
Right next to Scotty Drake's CD collection.
Right. And did you hear about the cowboy now tickets from
I saw them. Yes.
old newspapers?
Kind of upset I missed that show.
Right. Well, there were
8 years later.
that was the one from last year.
You remind us of a friend at church.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Josh Gilbo. You remind me of somebody that we go to church with, Josh Gilbo.
What church are you?
Bethany. Yeah.
You talking to?
753 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to get back into the opening of the legislative session in our next hour. Gifford Briggs going to talk energy bills with us there, and then we'll have Moon on, and then we'll have Daniel Erspamer as well. Right now, though, all month long, it's the Dreams Come True Radiothon, the Baton Rouge Clinic presenting the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon. If you're a longtime listener, you know about this partnership, and you know why we love it. And joining us right now is one example of why we love it. We've got Abram with us. Abram, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you, man?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. So you've actually been on the show before.
Yes, sir.
Now, for those that don't recall, tell us your story.
So in 2021, I was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, rhabdomyosarcoma, and we went through treatment, and now I'm out of it.
That's fantastic. That's a very quick version of the story. So it's a very rare form of cancer. Do you know how rare it is?
I don't.
Okay. Your mom Carly's in with us as well. How rare is this? I mean,
It is a rare form of cancer, and he went through 18 months of chemotherapy and 33 rounds of radiation. And so he finally rang that bell in 2023, and he is cancer-free.
Okay. I just want to stop for a second and take note. 18 months of chemotherapy and 33 rounds of radiation.
That's correct.
And he's skipping right past that when telling his own story. This
Yes.
talks about the resiliency, the fight, and everything that goes into why we do what we do is for kids like you, Abram. It's awesome because you got that bounce back in you and you're looking amazing right now. So awesome job on that front. Now, a cancer of the what? What is this affect?
The cancer of the nasal passage.
Nasal passages. Okay.
Yes, it was in his sinus cavity.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your interaction with Dreams Come True. How did you get to know them, and what was your dream?
I think one day when we were in the doctor's office, Child Life came in and they let us choose between Make-A-Wish and Dreams Come True, but they said Dreams Come True was more interactive.
Okay. Interactive, talking, of course, about Miss Becky and her team, about how they're just hands-on. And this is another example of why we do what we do with the Radiothon. This partnership shows you how your money stays local, your money serves children and their families in Louisiana. All right, so you choose Dreams Come True. What was your dream?
My dream was to go skiing in Copper Mountain, Colorado.
What? All right. How was that?
It was awesome.
Tell me all about it. I mean, okay, this was 2021 diagnosed. When did you go?
2024.
You went last year. Okay,
Yes, sir.
about what time last year? Give us the point of reference.
February.
February of last year. So we're all Mardi Gras it up down here. And you're putting on skis, obviously, for the first time in your life?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell me all about the experience. I mean, is it scary? Is it exciting, exhilarating, all of the above?
It was all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Your first time looking down a mountain.
Scary.
Okay. And then once you got down the mountain, like what made you just push those skis off and actually go? Like you had to find something, you had to like dig in and like just grin and bear it, or?
That's the only way to go back down the mountain. So.
Okay. I got to ask you, and I need you to be honest with me. You remained upright the whole time?
Sir?
You remained upright the whole time? No falls?
Some falls. Some falls.
Some falls. All right. So but the overall experience there, it's not something you get to do every day in Louisiana, obviously. What made you want that? How did that come to be?
I've always wanted to ski.
Mm-hmm.
You can water ski behind a boat, but it's not the same thing as skiing in the snow.
Right, exactly. And obviously mastered it. Just clobbered that the same way you clobbered your cancer as well. Are you going back? I mean, do we already have plans for a return trip here?
We went back 2 months ago.
No! Okay. So 2 months ago would probably be about February again.
Yeah.
All right. So this is getting to be a regular thing here.
Yes, sir. We're hoping to go back next year.
That's awesome. How are you feeling these days?
Awesome.
Once you got through those 18 months, you're to be able to carry that with you. I mean, are you able to look back on that at 14 years old? That's a lot to ask a kid to be able to carry that with you. What's your experience now looking back to be able to say, I did this, I conquered this?
It's really uplifting
Mhm.
how I went through that and came out of it.
Carly, got to ask you, because it's not just
Sure.
about Abram, it's about the whole family. Talk to me, give me about 60 seconds worth of working with Dreams Come True and about how it's that recharge for the whole family.
Working with Dreams Come True has been such a pleasure. We love Miss Becky, and we were so thankful that she reached out to us. Dreams Come True gifted him a scooter as well. She's always a text or phone call away. It gave us something to look forward to at the end, something to keep our eye on the prize and say, oh my gosh, we're done with treatment. Now we get to go celebrate.
Back to you for just a quick minute, Abram, and that's let's get back to the normal life here. School, everything, you're on task, you're on point, you're where you need to be,
Yes, sir.
and it's all smooth sailing from here, right?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Okay, so if there's another kid out there that's going through what you went through, obviously you're making the same recommendation here. Tell me just a little bit one more time about Dreams Come True itself and your takeaway afterwards with Miss Becky.
They're a really great foundation, and they help encourage you to push through your situations and know that you're bigger than your situation.
And what grade are you in?
8th.
You're in 8th grade. Where at?
BCS.
BCS. Awesome. Guys, I can't thank you enough for sharing a couple minutes with us just to tell the story. And it's a reminder of how your money stays here. It stays local. It stays with kids like Abram and his family. And Miss Becky is just doing the Lord's work out there. You can help her out by visiting talk1073.com. Make your donation to Dreams Come True today. Hour 3 is next. Awesome. That was very, very great. Another brilliant job.
Nice job, guys.
You want to take a picture?
Yes.
Can you get in it?
Look, take a picture with y'all three.
Okay. Then we need one with you.
Okay. All right, agree. 1, 2, 3. All right, John, do you have a free hand? to
Yes,
take
he does.
Snap one of us real quick.
All right, ready? Awesome.
Thank you, Tom.
No problem.
Very
All right.
good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good
Appreciate it.
week.
Awesome.
Good Monday.
Have a good one, man.
All right, you too.
All right, I'm back to 3 now. That kid's gonna hit a growth spurt real soon. Was that Gifford on the hotline?
Yeah. He said he was going to call back. He's going to call back.
I don't think my voice is up to the you can do it, so I need you to hit that one more time.
You want me to?
Oh, do I have time to go pee?
Of course. Okay. You got like two minutes or so.
Oh. You didn't look anything up for this day in history, did you? Okay. Well, yeah. Thank you. That was awesome. Yeah. He's really good. I got to get him to tell longer stories, but he's got the personality for it though. So yes, very much. SEO to the hilt. Phil Frost, former head of the Baton Rouge Zoo, might be the funniest follow on Facebook there is. A friend of mine just saw the Chernobyl documentary. He actually grew up in Ukraine in the 1980s and was able to count at least 8 historical inaccuracies on one hand. Oh. 806 Talk 1073 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We're getting our third hour rolling, and it's all a legislative session in this hour. We got Gifford Briggs is going to join us in just a minute. Gifford is the Gulf Coast Region Director at the American Petroleum Institute. He used to head up Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, longtime friend of the show. We got Moon Griffon in our next segment. We got Daniel Erspamer after that. We are locked and loaded. We are ready to roll. Now, this is the segment, John, where we are supposed to have This Day in History. And This Day in History, of course, presented by the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. If you need them, they're at 271-4096. 271-4096. You can find them in real life off of Range right next door to Big Mike's. You know where Big Mike's is at? Everybody in Denham knows where Big Mike's is at. They're right next door. In fact, closer to Range than Big Mike's. If you need them, it's about to be graduation time, right? Are you doing the big banner for your senior? You got a senior in high school, you want to do the big yard sign, the big banner? They've got you covered, 271-4096. Now, since we're not formally doing This Day in History, give me one thing, one event. What happened today?
Well, WBRZ launched today in Baton Rouge in 1955.
I think that's worth reporting.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
WBR. Also, birthdays today. Pete Rose, former LSU Tiger Rohan Davey, and current Saints defensive end Chase Young, among many, many others. So that's our encapsulated This Day in History presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs. All right. let's talk about the legislative session on an energy front. It is a fiscal session. Insurance is all the rage right now, but Louisiana is poised to fuel American energy dominance, or at least that's the opinion of Gifford Briggs, as he told it to The Advocate. He's here with us now. Gifford, welcome back. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm not sure that being ahead of Moon is good or would be better to be after him, but I'm happy to be on the show this morning.
Well, let's just put it this way, okay? When the elephants go through in the circus parade, would you rather be in front or behind?
Fair enough. Daniel will have to clean up the mess. So.
That's right. So, all right, let's dive in here. Louisiana's poised to fuel American energy dominance. Break it down for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Louisiana obviously has always been a leader in the energy space, and with the LNG growth that we're seeing now, with permitting pause being lifted, the incredible resources in the Haynesville Shale, and now we're starting to see projects coming to Louisiana, to deploy data centers, and we've got Hyundai making an announcement because of the abundance of one talented. Maybe one of the best workforces there is, abundant natural gas and pipeline infrastructure to be able to supply all these places, good policies and across the board, and now with Louisiana having primacy over Class 6 wells for CCUS, the ability for these companies to come in and do what they want to do in an environmentally responsible manner, which is something that's being demanded across the globe.
All right, environmentally responsible manner. Is that static or is that a moving target there? And if so, what does the legislature need to do to make sure we're ahead of the curve?
Well, I mean, I think I'd love to see anything static these days.
Right.
Everything's moving by the minute, right? But Louisiana, has been out front. Louisiana was the third state to be able to get primacy from the EPA to be able to permit its own wells. We put policies back in place, back in 2020 and even further beyond that. They've refined it more last year. So it is ready to go. Now, there are a lot of legislative instruments this year that are aimed at either stopping the process or making it more difficult, which would really hinder this leading opportunity that Louisiana has, where Texas and other states are actually looking at Louisiana, and Louisiana can lead, but we don't. We could be in a situation where if a lot of these bills pass, that we lose this opportunity altogether.
We're talking with Gifford Briggs, he's a coastal region Gulf Coast region director at the American Petroleum Institute. How granular are you on what's going on within the session? Are there any bills in particular you're looking at, or you're just keeping a 10,000-foot view here?
I mean, generally speaking, in Louisiana, we've got great trade partners with the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, Louisiana Oil and Gas Association. We work closely with LABI and Louisiana Chemical Association. So really, we try to provide as much support for them from where we are, whether it's testimony and expertise in those areas, because we manage a catalog of safety standards for across the industry. And so those trades, they're on the ground, they're feeling the heartbeat day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
I just have had the opportunity to participate in a lot of conversations, particularly around the area of CCUS, and know that there's a lot of, legislation that is being considered that would, really hurt the development that Louisiana is seeing.
So we haven't talked about carbon sequestration yet. How big of a deal is that going to be in this session?
I mean, it's going to be big. I mean, look, Louisiana. I mean, they just, then with Governor Landry went to the White House to announce the Hyundai plant. You've got metadata centers. All of these projects are implementing and utilizing CCUS. And then I think CF Industries just made another one about an ammonia facility. And so you're seeing companies coming to Louisiana making billion-dollar investments around CCS. Because Louisiana has the opportunity to permit its own projects, and there's legislation being considered across a various number of issues to either stop the process altogether or certainly make it more difficult for companies to do it in Louisiana, which only slows down investment. And when you have Texas that's going to be getting primacy here shortly. They actually just got their first permit granted from the EPA. And so that means that Texas is moving forward quickly, and they want to catch up to Louisiana as fast as they can. And so, these projects, if we don't control our own future, they have the opportunity to look at other places.
We've got Gifford Briggs with us for just a couple more minutes here. I'm glad you mentioned Texas, because as the Gulf Coast region director, I was kind of hoping for what our neighbors are doing as well to know, is Louisiana ahead of the curve when it comes to carbon CCUS, or are we at pace, running behind? Where are we compared to our neighbors?
I mean, we are Louisiana, when it was granted primacy in 2023, was 2 years ago, was the third state to get primacy.
Right.
Since then, West Virginia has been granted primacy, and Texas is right around the corner. However, Texas now has a permit for a Class 6 well for CCUS ahead of Louisiana. This one was granted by the EPA. So even though we got primacy first and could grant our own permits, Texas now has the first permit. So we still have a little bit of a head start. We've had more projects being announced in Louisiana, but they also have a legislative session going on right now, and they don't have any of the legislative opposition and bills being considered to stymie CCUS development the way Louisiana does. So hopefully we can have a strong legislative session and come out in a way that we still have the opportunity to responsibly develop CCUS and control our own future, and not shut it down altogether.
Last one before we get you out here, and we greatly appreciate your time this morning. We got Gifford Briggs with the American Petroleum Institute. Okay, you used to head up Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, so you know the fight that goes on within the legislature. You know that once the clock is ticking, and Sine Die is coming up on June 12th, shortened session for a fiscal session. Insurance is all the talk right now. How, from an energy perspective, do you fight within the session to get a seat at the table, to get some room at the trough, if you will?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's for the industry, for LOGA, LAMOGA, Lobby, LCA. I mean, those trade groups that lead the industry, that are the point of the spear, are going to be at the Capitol at all times, fighting on their issue. And we've talked a lot about CCS, but we know that there's going to be tax discussions. We know that there's going to be some of the other conversations. And look, insurance reform impacts our industry as well. So, as an industry that touches every aspect of Louisiana, our leaders, our trade partners, our companies are going to be at the Capitol every day, visiting with legislators, trying to make sure that our voice is heard. And fortunately, we've got great trade partners in the state, and they're going to do an incredible job representing and fighting for our industry.
He is Gifford Briggs, Gulf Coast Region Director at the American Petroleum Institute. We appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We got to take a quick break. We got Moon Griffon on the back end of that break. Before we break, though, and John, my voice is still not 100%. Talk 107.3 welcomes comedian Rob Schneider to the Raising Cane's River Center Friday, May 16th for his
You Can Do It
tour. Register now at talk1073.com and listening to this show for your chance to win tickets to the show. Plus, when you sign up to win online, make sure you subscribe to our Talk 1073 Baton Rouge YouTube channel for an extra entry. Quick break. Moon Griffon's up next. Galen says Copper Mountain is one of my favorite resorts. This young man sounds impressive. He honestly is, y'all, and he might tense up a little bit. I mean, he's a 14-year-old putting him on the radio, right? Talking to him off air. I mean, what a remarkable kid. I always get hesitant because I'm so pro dreams come true. I don't want to sound like I'm selling you. This isn't a hustle. I'm all in. You know what I took away from that conversation? They both mentioned Miss Becky by name.
Yeah.
All right. Ask any kid that's on Make-A-Wish if they could tell you who the CEO is, much less being able to text them at a moment's notice.
Yes.
Like, get rid of all. Like, I like being here. I like being in Louisiana.
Yep.
I like having that locality and those relationships, being able to talk to the person who's doing shit that matters. Can you get Moon on the phone?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, that's what it's about.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, Moon. This is John with Brian Haldane. Hey, doing well, sir. Hey, looking to have you on here in just about a minute or so. Oh, yeah, you're ready. That's it. All right. Yeah, we'll have you on here shortly. Thank you.
818 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We move from Gifford Briggs to Moon Griffon, but the topic remains the same. The upcoming legislative session. Moon, how are you, brother?
Ron, what's going on, man?
Are you all set up? You ready to roll over there?
And I'm set up. They hadn't kicked me out yet, so that's a good sign.
That's because you hadn't said anything yet. I mean, we got 4 more hours of this before we're really before we can really be comfortable here.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that, Brian.
I will say this though: this is our second year doing this, right? And as just as a complete aside, shout out to the governor's office, like his whole staff there, to be open to the idea from jump, right? To say like we'd like to do 2 radio shows from the state capitol, just to kind of be inside the belly of the beast on day one. For them to give this the green light is kind of a testament to, like, they want everybody to know what's going on so that we can all be rowing in the same direction as a state. I think that's a good thing.
No, it's not bad at all. It's awful nice of the governor to let us come in here and take over for about 4 hours.
Yep.
And we get a chance to visit with some of the lawmakers. And the governor didn't show up last time, and he's busy with his speech. John Kay was here last time, and he'll step in for him again this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always fun for me. I get to visit, kind of see what everybody's in the mind. And when you come, we get to banter back and forth and probably slide in a few guests as well. So kind of find out what everybody's on. We all know insurance is a big deal, but there's a lot of other things that are going on, Brian, and I think that's what you and me will probably get into today, other things going on besides insurance.
Yeah, I mean, there is, the matter of the budget, putting things back together with CA2 failing at the polls a couple weeks ago. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk a lot about insurance. State Representative Kim Carver, this is the only one I've got firm right now for a time. Kim Carver's coming on at 11:15 with us, Moon, and he has authored the bill that talks about trial lawyers advertising. The bill that Senator Cloud put up a couple of years ago. It's rewritten now. It looks a little bit different, but that's going to be one of our big topics of conversation is what limits on speech can you put on attorneys?
Well, the Supreme Court ruled years ago, whether I like it or not, the Supreme Court ruled years ago that they can advertise it. That was free speech.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop it. Let me tell you, Brian, remind me to tell you the story, and I'm going to wait and save it for you and me.
Okay.
Of my trip, my fishing trip this weekend. And this is a true story. I only caught 5 bass, but I killed 2 deer.
What?
How you like that? Oh, yeah. Killed 2 deer with the front end of my truck when they ran out on me. I almost got 3. Oh, you should see my truck. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to wait and tell a story with you, but it's funny. All this time of me talking and you talking insurance, and I had to file a claim. Look, I thank God I ain't hurt, man. It was unbelievable. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of ironic when you go on a fishing trip, you come back with a lot of meat, a lot of fish, and a lot of deer.
Oh, meanwhile, right now, Moon, Morris Bart is on the phone with the deer's family.
Oh, no, that's the problem. I wanted to find out who I can sue, but is the wildlife and fishery doing their job? Is it a parish problem? Because I need somebody to sue, and I can't necessarily sue the deer because them 2 ain't. There's only one eyewitness besides me, and that was the deer that I badly missed. It just came out of the woods, and it was not. All I went was, oh my God, boom! It was over, and the front of my truck ain't too happy.
No.
All my insurance rates are probably not going to be too pretty either.
That's we've got the Louisiana's truck lawyer. We don't have Louisiana's deer lawyer. You might
guess what? We may need a deer lawyer.
You might be creating a whole market if somebody will work for Backstrap.
Yeah, guess what? I can get it done. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Yeah. Well played. Nice turn of phrase. We're talking with Moon Griffon. Moon, let's talk about the overall atmosphere. And I talked about this a little bit with Will Green from Lobby in our last hour. Opening day of the Major League Baseball season, first day of school. and the opening day of the legislative session, there's this vibe that's a little bit different than it is any other day. There's this, I don't want to say romanticism, but it's like there's a hope in the air on a day like today. And this, one of the reasons why I'm glad we're doing what we're doing is because you can grab that, hopefully bottle it a little bit to remind folks that there's actually mission and purpose there. It's not just shouting at each other. There's mission and purpose and moving the state forward. A day like today, you could be optimistic.
Yeah, and I think what happened is today is a light day. There's probably not a whole lot of committee meetings. They all come back in for the first time. They hadn't seen each other a bunch. So it's an optimistic fear. When I walked in the door, I was one of the first ones to come in the building. I had some security people. I hadn't seen hardly anybody, a few of the state troopers. There's a big press conference coming here. And that's how I feel on an opening day of anything. You just coming in here going, let's see what happens. And we hope we can get something done. You always hear during the session, and I'm probably as guilty as anybody, we always talk about the bad stuff and what's happening. Every now and then there's some good stuff that come along. And I'm hoping we'll have some good stuff. As bad as the insurance is, I want to go back to something you said on the budget. The budget it's unique because of the amendments and what happened. But what about what the federal government's doing? What about what they're doing with the budget? What about the cuts that are coming? Those probably are going to affect the state budget in a pretty big way. Maybe not this year. Maybe it'll be next year. But sooner or later, it's going to affect the budget. And that's probably as big an issue as the insurance. I'm sure they got some education reform and some other stuff that's happening, but those are going to be the big issues. I think they're going to dominate the session throughout.
No, I agree with that completely. It's putting CA2 back together in a piecemeal form. And the hard part there is anything that's going to have any substance to it is going to have to go back to the polls again. So they're going to pass things during the session that won't take effect until at least November, if they can move forward at the polls later on. So you got the budget, you got the insurance. Let's talk about the workplace, the workforce, if you will. This is something that we talk with Will Green about regularly. We talked with over at Pelican Institute a good bit. What are you looking for on the workforce front?
Brian, the one thing I haven't understood about the workforce is that, people get trained through going through school. They get trained through going to community colleges. They get trained when they go on the job. I'm trying to figure out the only time, you're going to laugh at me for this, but the only time I ever remember what the workforce is doing besides the obvious is helping people when a company goes out of business, because they need to be retrained to go in another field of work. So you're going to have to tell me, I've had these guys talk about a workforce, and I get it. You want trained people. I get all that. But my question is, what changes? If people are educated and have a work habit that's good, what else do they need? You know what I'm saying? What else can you keep doing besides training them in the field that they're going to go in? So what is Will telling y'all? I've never figured out what the workforce, what's changing in workforce. Educated, train them, let them go to work.
So you add to that, and there's an early childhood aspect to this, Moon, that we have a chunk of our workforce that it's actually more profitable for them or more financially beneficial for them to not be back in the workforce because daycare costs so much. So there's that aspect of it as well to help make early childhood education a little bit more affordable. That can increase the number of participants in our workforce. Won't affect the unemployment number. It'll up our participation rate. That would be a good thing.
You're telling me that's one of the tweaks? Because I don't think it's anything major. I think it's tweak here, tweak there. That's what it sounds like to me.
From where we are right now, yeah, absolutely. Because they've basically got their mission out there to begin with, and funding LCTCS, making sure that not only is the workforce being trained, but being trained in the right thing. How many people that are going to go to work for Meta even knew what Meta was before the announcement was made?
So like I said, I understand that, and we need people to be trained and ready. And if you can train them specifically for a certain business, I get all that. I do. I understand it all. Every time I hear workforce, I just go, God, what can you keep doing? But you mentioned the child care. I've never thought about that. I'm sure that's a big, big issue with a lot of people.
It affects a number of families to where, it's more financially beneficial to have, or it's more financially detrimental for both parents to be working. It actually ends up being a drain on the family budget as opposed to the other way around. And the other thing I think, Moon, would just be the matchmaking end of it. Making sure that the people who are out there and the jobs that are out there can find each other.
Yeah. No, I definitely believe that, but I thought that was always part of it.
Yeah.
I know, like the community colleges, and we used to have trade schools and all that stuff, but I think what they can do, some of these businesses, Meta would be a great example. They could run over to the university right there, all of them, and say, hey, here's what we're going to need. And I think that's not going to kick off until the 28th, but the construction jobs will start a lot sooner than that.
Right.
I think if they go to the schools, and high schools and colleges and community colleges, they can always show them what they're going to need, what they're going to be doing. I get it. I understand that, but I always thought that's what
we got about a minute or so left with Moon Griffon, host of the Moon Griffon Show, which you will hear from 9 to 11 right here on Talk 173 FM, broadcasting live from the state capitol, from the fourth floor. We're in a different room than last year, or you're in the same room, and then we'll move on.
Well, they got me in the same room. What happened was Sharon Landry has a big press conference in here. They're going to start coming in at 11, so they asked us to move. All we're going to do is, instead of coming right when you come up, you're going to go left. It's another room.
Okay.
And then you can go set up in there, and we ought to be good to go. So that's the only reason. We're just going to move down all across the hall. I told them I would go down there, but they went on and set me up here. They just set it up differently than what it was. That's all.
So, no, as long as we're in the building, so long as we can pick and choose all our different legislators throughout to say, hey, come do a segment real quick, we'll have it all covered. He is Moon Griffon. Who you got on today?
Let's see. Hey, brother, how you doing? Temple's supposed to stop by. Kirk Talbot is with all these people wanted to come early, Brian. I was trying to push them back with us, but they got something they want to do. So I know Talbot, Miguez may stop by. I think the education guy, I wanted him to come late too. So I'm waiting on him on a time frame. So that's pretty much it. I don't know. Anybody else that call them, throwing them to 11 to 1 because I think we're going to have more time. About 1 o'clock, I mean, they got the speech. So, I mean, after about 12:30, it'd probably be just you and me.
Oh, no,
100%.
100%.
You always have fun anyway, so it'd be a good day.
Yeah, we'll have a good time from 12:30 until 1-ish. Fortunately, this governor's on time when he does his opening remarks.
Yeah.
And I hope he stays that way. He was for his first one.
We won't have him. John Kay stepped in last year,
Mhm.
and he's not going to come by working on the speech. So we'll get John Kay, I think, for a few minutes as well. So anyway, it's good to go.
Looking forward to it. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right. Sound
All right.
like a winner, brother.
All right, Moon Griffon coming your way from 9 to 11 this morning, and then we'll be tag teaming a little pregame show, if you will, from 11 to 1. It's 8:30. Let's catch news, traffic, weather. Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute next. Based on the Maha. Boy, I love that. Yeah. All right, it's stacking up, y'all. Hey, it's time to get a look at your forecast. How are things stacking up for the week? Well, we can tell you that there's not a lot of rain, actually, no rain at all in store for us for the next few days. Your high today, 83. Your high tomorrow, 79. Your high Wednesday, 81. Up to 85 on Thursday, 88 on Friday. We are looking at the next real chance of rain. It's actually going to be on Easter Sunday, where we got close to a 60% chance of rain. And that being said, we're still almost a full week out. So don't write that in ink just yet. Now, the chance of rain that we're seeing for Easter Sunday looks like it's going to be lingering around for a couple of days to start off next week. In fact, all the way through Wednesday, there will be some 30 to 40% chance of rain every day. Right now, mostly cloudy, 67 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. 837, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We've got, joining us now to continue our talk about the upcoming legislative session, Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute is on with us. Daniel, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm raring to go. It's first day of session.
See, fired up, man.
Like
there's an energy to it.
Opening day, baseball. Let's go. All right.
Okay, so honestly, were you listening to the show earlier, or are you just using that one?
No, I wasn't. I missed it this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, kiddo stuff.
Opening day of baseball, first day of school. I mean, those two things right there,
that's it.
They look like and the reason I use baseball and not football or basketball is because a baseball season is so long and that so many different things can transpire over the course of the season. You lose your ace to an injury. Things can go wrong in football season or a basketball season, but even the lowliest Mets fan can have hope on day one.
That's right.
Right? There's nobody with the Cleveland Browns going to start off next season thinking Super Bowl. No. But in baseball, that hope exists. Now, look at the first day of school. You get your syllabus. You find out where your locker is. The whole works, right? That's kind of what day one of the session is. You have that excitement of what's to come. But day one, nothing really happens. Day two, it's going to kick into overdrive very, very fast. So from a Pelican Institute standpoint, what's day two going to look like?
Yeah, well, day two, it's going to be action-packed already. Here are the things we're watching and engaging in, of course. The big debate over legal reform and insurance reform. How do we make sure we stay focused on reforms that will actually help drive insurance rates down over time and put the consumer in the driver's seat, and really make that legal system fair, not only for insurance purposes, but also, of course, for just driving our business community and creating jobs and opportunity here. We're also looking at, obviously, big debate over the LA Gator program. We are now well over 34,000 kids who have been qualified to receive the LA Gator program. The legislature needs to maintain their promise to fund that program. So that'll be a big debate this time. And then, we are big supporters of Governor Landry's initiative to consolidate workforce and safety net programs to improve our workforce outcomes, improve our efforts to alleviate poverty in the state, and really set up Louisiana to be a leader in this rather than a follower. It's a really exciting opportunity. We call it one door to work and opportunity.
One door to work and opportunity. We've actually talked with Susie Showen about that. Actually, I believe it was at the Solution Summit.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, we may have crossed paths on this one before. We'll get back into that one in just a minute. I want to start off on the insurance front. Did you happen to see what Morris Bart tweeted going into the weekend?
I did.
Yeah. It says even if you have any kind of tort reform or legal reform, no place shows. There is no state where we've seen a decrease in insurance rates because of legal reform. Does Morris Bart not know what Florida is?
Yeah, that's exactly the question I was going to ask. He only needs to go east for a little bit to cross over into Florida, and he can see exactly that outcome. It's bizarre. The anti-legal reform crowd seems to have not paid any attention to what's happened in Florida over the last the last few years, and it's really strange.
We're starting to see the wagons circle from the lawyers' standpoint. Those that are going to put up the biggest fight against legal reform. It feels like to me, Daniel, they're putting forth the same arguments that they have every time. Have we not figured out how to counter those arguments yet with receipts?
Well, of course we have. The challenge, of course, in this is the plaintiffs' bar and affiliated groups have significant resources, significant reach, are on TV every second of every day, on every billboard. But here's the reality. The people are not buying it.
Right.
In the poll we released at the Solution Summit a couple of weeks ago, 84% of Republicans, 81% of independents, and 61% of Democrats all say that legal abuse is the driver of insurance premium increases. The people aren't buying the talking points of the billboard lawyers. What they want, though, is solutions, not bickering back and forth. They want solutions to their insurance, and they are tired of, and our poll and others show, they're tired of the trial lawyers pushing back against what they know need to be done.
I think it's different this time around because we've learned to stop vilifying the lawyers themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
They play within the set of rules that have been established. So I don't want to vilify Jalen Hurts, but I do want to get rid of the tush push.
Yeah,
I can't believe it took till now to come up with that example.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, the I always say this: I'm married to a lawyer, and everyone hates lawyers until you need one,
right?
And then you really love them. So this is what the justice system is supposed to do. The problem when we have abuse in the system, and when we have a system that allows this kind of activity, it means the people who really need their day in court, the people who have genuinely been injured by fault of someone else, it means they don't really get their day in court because the system is sluggish. There's too much abuse in the system, and people have lost. They've lost confidence in it. And so the abuse of the system and the system that allows the abuse really means what that justice is there for doesn't happen. And that's what we have to solve for.
Yeah, it's one of the most misquoted Shakespeare quotes out there. Is remember the quote, the first thing you do is get rid of all the lawyers?
Yeah.
The back half of that quote is, and then you have to deal with the chaos that ensues.
That's
so
right.
Nobody's hating on lawyers here. It's just a matter of we'd like to set up different rules to this particular playground. We got Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute with us. Let's talk about the Gator program for just a minute, if we could. I do want to save time for the one door. But with the Gator program, what kind of battle is it facing right now because of the uncertainty of the budget?
Yeah, that really is it. You know, I think the governor proposed about $100 million in funding, which is an increase of about $50 million over the current voucher program. Those students will transfer into the new Gator program and get first priority. Unfortunately, we've heard some legislators, mostly people who were opposed to the program to begin with. So this gives them an extra sort of excuse to try not to fund it, to say, you know, we're only going to fund the voucher kids. We're not going to actually implement the program that the legislature passed and the governor championed last year. And look, the 30 plus thousand, I'm guessing it'll be 35, 36,000 by the end of this. Those families aren't interested in excuses. Those are families who've said, we want something different. Whatever we're doing isn't working. And I want to make one quick point. You know, the idea that cutting the $50 million extra that the governor proposed here, that actually doesn't save you $50 million because those kids are most of them are going to go into a public school, and we're going to pay for them through the MFP, the funding formula. So they've got to realize while there's an appropriation required, it offsets some that won't be paid in the MFP. So cutting $50 million here doesn't save you $50 million, and you're denying students the opportunity to attend a school that fits them best.
Yeah, absolutely. The money just gets reverted back into the MFP, to be sure.
That's right.
It's not 1-to-1, but it's not far off either. We've got Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute with us for just a couple more minutes here. Okay, the one-door program. How close are we to seeing what Susie Schoen wants overall? What's her vision look, or how far down the path is her vision?
Yeah, we're very close. You know, the governor put together a task force about a little over a year ago, led by Susie and by Deputy DCFS Secretary Ali Rao, my former colleague here at the Pelican Institute. And, you know, they have really driven great work. This wasn't a show pony task force. This was, how are we going to get this done? So there's legislation. Representative Baralt and Representative Carver will be carrying the lead bills that begin to implement this vision that Susie and Ali and the governor have been championing now for a while. This is a huge opportunity that really should bring everyone, left, right, center, all together toward that goal of improving how we address poverty in Louisiana.
Give me one thing that's off the map, one thing that's off the menu that you're looking at for this legislative session.
You know, some things that have sort of flown under the radar. Keep an eye out for regulatory reform. You know, Louisiana has the 10th highest number of regulations on the books of any state in the country. And, you know, we and others are looking to say, how do we streamline that? How do we make sure we have regulations that protect consumers, and keep the buses running, but that don't hamper or provide barriers to work and opportunity. So the governor has issued an executive order recently to this effect, and we'll see, I think, a few pieces of legislation as we've been reviewing that seek to at least provide some legislative oversight to the regulatory state and to address that sort of broad deference to the administrative state and legal system. Big opportunities there that probably won't get a whole lot of airtime given everything else going on.
No kidding. But we will make sure to keep it front and center whenever we can. I'm going to tell you the one thing I'm looking for, Daniel, and I was going to, when me and Moon do our pregame show at 11, I was going to bring this up then. I'm looking for leadership from the class of 2023. They were elected with a whole lot of steam behind them. They got their feet wet with baptism by fire with 4 different sessions last year. I'm looking for them to kick down doors and wear capes this year.
I totally agree. And let me tell you, I've talked to a number of them over the last week or so, and they are ready. They are geared up. And I'm so proud and so excited for the work they're going to do leading the fight. You're right. They are heroes, and we got to keep cheering them on.
Yeah, they are freshmen no more. It's like bringing in a top 10 recruiting class. You want to see results in the field, and that's where we're at.
That's right. Here. Love all the sports analogies this morning. Let's do it.
Are you in town, or are you back in New Orleans for right now?
I'm in New Orleans now, but I will be there in a few hours and be around Baton Rouge much of this week.
Good deal. We will see you soon. Daniel Erspamer, always appreciate the time.
Thanks, my friend. Good to talk to you. Happy opening day.
Yeah, as to you as well. Quickly, before we get to our break at the for Your Money Now, got to remind you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. They bring you top stories and trending every day. You know where else they bring every day? Washington, D.C. Direct flight, leaves out in the 7 o'clock hour, comes home in the evening, and you get your business done same day. You don't even have to book a hotel room. Go to our nation's capital, get your business done, come back home. You fly into Reagan National, which is right in the thick of it. You're not flying way out to Dulles. You get your business done, you come back home. One of the many great flights that they offer at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. And when you factor in the convenience of flying out of your own backyard, and when you factor in using a Baton Rouge business to do so, flybtr.com. All right, where are we at, Facebook? I'm winded. Physically winded. What up? What'd I do wrong? Okay, and at the end, it's like all the way up until. At the end, it's all the way up until. Like we go until the governor starts. All right. The 12:58? Yeah, and then we'll just come back after it. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take it a couple minutes early. Yeah. Should be on LN2. Can you give me like 15 minutes before we head over? and they moved us to a different room. Okay. I didn't know you were listening. Nobody listens to this show, man. And Paul Arrigo. Rocco. And about half the people that are in the state capitol right now. They ought to. Bro, there were so many Blue Origin jokes this morning.
Oh man.
They're taking the flights going off today.
Yeah.
They leave Gale and come back.
Katy Perry goes, no. Katy Perry's going to space. I didn't say nothing.
Somebody showed it where, like, the spacecraft after it comes back, it was a room with a scratch on it.
The Sadvocate has the gas pump still in it.
Oh man.
I said this morning, 11 minutes in space and the blinker's going to be on the whole time. 5 members of the crew, only one rear view to do makeup in.
Does anybody have a meme with like the Stanley Cup
Yes.
and somebody on the phone?
Yes. Do the cup holders hold a Stanley?
No,
We
it's your
got
dark.
T-ball later this afternoon. I got to get out of this.
Oh,
Honey, I'm in
man.
a jet. But the greatest one is Mark Zuckerberg staring at the rack.
Oh man.
I haven't seen that one.
From the inauguration, where he's sitting there.
Oh,
and Sanchez there. And he's like,
They go communist. Don't let them fool you.
No, it was your dark firework joke that
Yeah. I mean, if something goes sideways with this flight, Katy Perry's Firework becomes an anthem. I don't
I
know.
want to say 9:30 Eastern, so that would be
30 minutes after their husbands were ready.
you can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Is it going to be on time?
No.
Which one of them's flying it?
It's an all-female crew. I don't know which one's actually flying. I don't think.
How do you decide who sits in the passenger seat? I mean, you got so many, right?
Exactly.
On an airplane, there's the driver's side, and there's, you know. Did somebody bring the Alex Cooper podcast?
Oh, can you get me 10, 11, and 12 for this segment? 10, 11, and 12.
okay.
I can't see that side from here. Didn't you say something about that when last time I was on remote? Yeah. 8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Oh man, I am ready. Let's go. Legislative session opens today. We didn't even talk about Representative Glorioso's bill. I had it here in my stack. Going after medical transparency. I'll tell you what, I'll put that in the stack to cover with Moon once we're up and running from 11 till 1 today. I can tell you confirmed already we are going to have State Representative Kim Carver and State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter. Carver on at 11:15, Kleinpeter on at 11:35. And I can tell you somewhere in the show, Moon's going to tell a story about hitting a deer with his car. No, 2. Hitting 2 deer with his car. And, I mean, just the pure redneckery of he saved the deer. Like, he's got the meat. He's going to get that all butchered up.
He
Wait, they do that at Best Stop? I don't know. Where is he taking it? No, pure redneckery is if you get it mounted as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And if you really want to go full on redneck, you put your car's bumper underneath the head. It goes head, it goes bumper. We'll be taking you all the way up to the governor's opening comments at 1-ish. All right, before we get out here, we've got to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com. Landmarkbankla.com is the website. Founded in 1897 as a community bank. In 2025, they have grown into a community bank. They've stuck to their mission this entire time, more than 100 years, well over, they've eclipsed 100 years by a good chunk, another quarter. And they've remained true to their mission and who they are. So if you're in downtown Baton Rouge, you're not going to find a Landmark Community Bank. But if you're in the communities surrounding downtown Baton Rouge, you very well may. If you're in Clinton, if you're in Zachary, if you're in Denham, if you're in Brewley, go to landmarkbankla.com, landmarkbankla.com, and hit the tab for the locations, see if they're in your backyard. Landmarkbankla.com. Do we have time to squeeze in a little bit more about the legislative session? We talked about insurance bills a little while ago, but our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network, they spoke with State Senator Patrick McMath, who we had on last week, talking about making America healthy again. One of his bills, he's got a lot this session that's going to be prioritizing health. Cut 10.
If we changed our priorities, if we incentivized health over sickness, this country could turn around in 2 years. We'd be the most productive, most dominating force in the world.
I want you to go to talk1073.com, Mornings with Brian Haldane, under the legislative tab. We interviewed Senator McMath last week. It was phenomenal. Audio, courtesy of Lake Urgent Care. We got to get out of here. Moon's next. All right, I got to skedaddle, y'all. I got to go. Me and Bo are going to go set up over at the state capitol. We'll see y'all later.